A lot of people interchange the terms watchdog and guard dog, and they're sometimes right to do so. It's kind of like how a square can be a rectangle, but a rectangle can't be a square. Let me explain. A watchdog is alert and will alarm at the sight of a stranger or animal on its owner's property. According to what I've learned in my obedience trainer program at school, this is one of the first jobs that humans have bred dogs for. As such, many breeds of dogs have the potential to be a watchdog. Surprisingly, many of these watchdogs are smaller breeds. Because they are small, toy breeds must be more alert and aware of their surroundings because almost everything can take them out. Toy poodles, chihuahuas, mini pinchers, and other small dogs can be some of the most vigilant watchdogs. However, they lack the physical capabilities to stop an intruder should one ignore their warning barks. That is the purpose of a guard dog, to throw hands with an intruder should they ignore warnings. I'm sure everybody can name a guard dog breed. Mastiffs, Rottweilers, Dobermans, and German Shepherds are all very popular for the role of home guardian. Most guard dog breeds will respond in an emergency without having prior training to do so. Training a dog to bite is really teaching the dog control. These dogs that have been trained can also stop on command. A very well-trained dog can go from playing with the child 1 second and to breaking a criminal's arm the next. Deciding on whether you need a watchdog or guard dog is up to you. A guard dog will both bark and attack, but you may not need that from a dog. Most intruders give up when they see a dog barking. Only a very small percentage are crazy or stupid enough to ignore it. Having a guard dog may present a risk should it be mistakenly bite somebody on accident. Of course, these are only if the owner doesn't take time to socialize the dog and properly introduce them to house guests. If it does happen, it could mean a lawsuit for you and euthanasia for your dog. It's best to socialize every dog, watchdog, guard dog, or lazy dog that lets people walk right in. Get what's best for you. If you know you live in a rough area, a dog will significantly decrease the chances of someone breaking in. For best results, you can get both a watchdog and a guard dog because 2 heads are better than 1. In my case, Guy's a pretty good watchdog.
Hold on.
He's alert and has a very loud voice. While I know he'd do nothing should somebody break in, I know Lola would. It's a great setup because sometimes Guy will hear things Lola can't and she'll come check out what he's barking at. I know I'm perfectly safe because I live in a very small town where there isn't much crime, besides that guy who was shot last week, and my 2 dogs make me feel all the safer knowing they'd alert me if somebody was trying to break in. Since I'm talking about guard dogs, I'd also like to talk about a different kind of guard dog. The breeds I mentioned are close quarter guardians meant to stay in the home with the family. Livestock guardians live amongst flocks of sheep and protect them from wolves, bears, and other possible threats. You know that old Looney Tunes cartoon where the dog and the coyote would both clock in at work, exchange pleasantries, then the coyote would spend all day trying to get the sheep, ending in failure and a beating from the dog? That's a livestock guardian dog. These dogs are usually very difficult to train because they don't often take orders from people while on the job. They respond mostly to their own instincts, but they would still treat the shepherd, or a person in this case, like family. They don't herd the sheep, nor do they work with herding dogs like border collies. You either have a livestock guardian dog or a herding dog, not both. Livestock guardian dogs tend to be dog aggressive, mostly to larger dogs, because of the fact that they ward off wolves. They kind of see them the same way. They might work with one other dog if they were raised together. If you were to own a livestock guardian dog, it would protect you as if you were a baby lamb in its flock. However, they'd be happiest on a large patch of land doing the job they were meant to do. Many people will often boast that certain livestock guardian breeds are capable of killing wolves, but it's actually 50-50. A couple of dogs could tear a wolf apart, but a pack of wolves could kill the dogs. What makes Livestock Guardian so successful is that it makes hunting sheep look like a challenge to the wolves. As I've said, wolves aren't confrontational and will avoid hunting animals they know that will risk their own health. That is, if food isn't scarce and the wolves aren't desperate for a meal. If you're watching this and you own a livestock on the western side of the United States, please consider getting a Livestock Guardian Dog. Last year, the state of Idaho passed a law that allowed the killing of up to 90% of the state's wolf populations. This was apparently done to try and appease worried farmers that were afraid that the wolves would kill their livestock. Records show they killed about 100 cattle and sheep in 2020, but this is a rather small number considering the state has 2.8 million cattle and sheep. They usually hunt elk, and the elk population has cost farmers a ton of money in crop destruction. The ecosystem would be greatly changed by the loss of wolves. Wolves are a keystone species, and if you want to know more about that, look up how wolves changed Yellowstone. A great solution to this would be if more farmers had livestock guardian dogs. Dogs pee to mark their territory, and if a wolf picks up on this, then they will know hunting livestock won't be easy. A dog's urine can communicate to those who smell it the dog's gender, whether or not they're in heat, and even if their stress levels and social status. A wolf might leave before it ever sees the dog. It wouldn't risk putting itself or its pack in harm's way unless they were very desperate. If farmers had more livestock guardian dogs, the already low numbers of attacked livestock would be even lower. Here are some livestock guardian breeds. The Great Pyrenees is probably the most popular livestock guardian in America, though it's mostly a pet dog for the people in America. Though they aren't easily trained, people like their calm, gentle personalities and their guarding nature. Some lions, though, may be nocturnal, and I've heard that they may starve themselves because they normally hunt their own food and regular meals happen too often for their liking. I might be wrong about that, but anything's possible. I think the Kangal might be the breed most capable of working in the western side of the United States. The Kangal is meant to work in Turkey, where the summers are very hot and winters are very cold. The Kangal is also very gentle with its family and flock, but they can go to 0 to 100 in a second if they see a threat. The Kangal has supposedly the strongest bite force of all dog breeds, but take that with a grain of salt. Bite force measurements are inaccurate because the dogs aren't biting as hard as possible for their measurements. The South African Boer Bull, if I'm saying that correctly, would also be good in the hot climate of the western United States, and it was meant to protect its livestock from the deadly animals of Africa. They won't kill a lion like some people will often boast, but they might be able to kill a leopard. A breed I really like is the Commodore. Music lovers will recognize it as the dog on the cover of Beck's Odelay album. Most livestock guardian breeds are white to blend in with the sheep, but the Commodore takes this further by having long corded hair. This hair is useful when it's fighting a wolf because it makes it difficult for the wolf to attack its vital areas by giving the wolf a mouthful of cords. And they can somehow see through these cords even though they cover the dog's eyes. The dog that personally captures my imagination the most is the Tibetan Mastiff. I've heard these dogs are technically homestead guardians, meaning they will guard everything within the property, including people, livestock, and everything in between. I need to learn more about that distinction, though. The Tibetan Mastiff is the great-granddaddy of all Mastiff breeds and can survive in extreme temperatures and high altitudes. If you enjoy both dogs and anime movies, check out Tibetan Dog. The dub is free on YouTube. It's a typical dog movie based in the interesting setting of the fields of Tibet. It's a story that's been told a million times: lonely kid with no friends, mysterious dog that listens to no one, become best friends, etc. I did enjoy that the movie was about the interesting Tibetan Mastiff breed and the nomadic people of Tibet, so it's worth watching. While all these breeds are amazing, what would get the very best results would be if American breeders created a new livestock guardian breed designed to work in the specific climates of the United States. The Kangal would do well, but I'm not sure how similar the climate of Turkey is to the western United States. I know that American breeders have already created herding dogs like the Australian Shepherd and McNab that are meant to herd in the hot climate of the western United States. However, I don't know of any livestock guardian breeds that have been developed in the United States. I'd say this again, if you have a livestock and live out west, get a livestock guardian dog. The presence alone would deter wolves, similar to how the presence of a barking dog deters home intruders. Get what's best for your home or your homestead and your family. A guard dog can be a watchdog, but some watchdogs can't be a guard dog. Think about where you live and how many threats there are to your home, family, or your livestock if you have any. I'll be back again with another video sometime in the future. I had an idea for one, but I forgot.